Africa's quarter century of democracy and freedom through a book containing a collection of 25 fabulous stories that will jog South African memories and fill them once again with a sense of pride in our extraordinary sportsmen and women. We get to relive extraordinary tales from Bafana's Africa Cup of Nations win to the fabled 438 Proteas game, Caster Semenya and Wayde van Niekerk to Benni, McCarthy and Kevin Anderson. The offering is titled Vuvuzela Dawn, 25 sports stories that shaped a new nation, and it was put together by Alfred and Hawkey. While joining us now this morning on the show is award-winning journalist and co-author of the book, Alfred. It's great to have you in studio. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you, Pro.
Where did the idea for a book such as this come from?
I've always been interested in commemoration. I've always felt that there's a kind of will to amnesia, if you like, in the South African public generally, and this doesn't only apply to sport. And I wanted to find some mechanism to write about and really preserve the stories that were being lost. So that was one of the drivers for the book. And then, you know, one of the things you might also be aware of in contemporary South Africa is we have a lot of stories, but we don't always tell them very well. And we wanted to combine those two things. We wanted to combine the storytelling with the commemoration. And hence the book, it's 25 Years of Democracy this month. And here we have Vuvuzela Dawn.
And so the book is divided into different sections. So there's the honeymoon, the innovators, the hard times, the fresh and higher, faster, longer. Talk to us about what those mean.
We had to find a mechanism of organizing our material. One of the ways in which we might have done it is we might have written one chapter for every year, but that poses the problem of what do you do in a year which is oversubscribed sports-wise? You know, what do you do in a year like 1996, in which we had a Cup of Nations and we had an Olympics? So what we decided was we would use another mechanism, and we thought to ourselves, what are some of the themes which actually characterize this 25-year period? And one of the themes, one of the chunks, we have 4 or 5 chapters within this section, is innovators. South Africans are good innovators. They're not always good innovators. And the innovation dimension of our sport, I think, has been lost to some extent with the professionalization of our sport. But you know, we talk about piano and shoe shine in football. We talk about shibobos in football. Paul Adams held the cricket ball in the most counterintuitive way. So if I show you my hand, he held a cricket ball between his middle finger and his thumb, like that. And then he didn't look at where he was bowling. He turned his head downwards to his feet and bowled like that. Whereas normally you hold a cricket ball between these two fingers. So he was an innovator. And this is a section of innovation. And we've also had, there are some other sections. South African sport hasn't always told positive stories.
Yes.
So that was the hard times section, in which we wrote about Hansie Cronje and Kampstaaldraad, etc. So essentially the book is upbeat and tells a positive story, but we felt we couldn't neglect certain negative things either.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How did yourself and Ian then decide which stories to tell?
We had endless debates. We had endless debates of it. So we have the template of the 5 sections by now. So really then it's a case of sort of slotting what we think is deserving into those 5 sections. Ian likes soccer. So Ian often wrote the soccer chapters. So he wrote Orlando Pirates in Africa in 1995, World Cup 2010, Africa Cup of Nations 1996. I like cricket and rugby. I kind of see myself primarily as a cricket correspondent or journalist. So that took care of that. But there were some real debates. And there are some exclusions, which we are vaguely embarrassed about. You know, but we only have 25 chapters, so we can't put in everyone. You know, there is quite a strong emphasis, there's quite a strong stress on the beginning. So the early years, 1994, Josiah Tugwani, Penny Haynes, etc. and there's quite a lot of stress on the contemporary. And perhaps there's a slight weakness in the book with what happens between. But, you know, we've thought carefully about who is included and who is excluded.
And any sort of notable entries for you? I mean, I know for a lot of people, the 1995 Springbok, you know, the Springboks winning the World Cup was, you know, quite a moment, because it just not only celebrated the win on the sporting front, but also from, you know, the new democracy, you know, coming into our nation. Any notable entries for you, or entries that brought a lot of nostalgic moments? Or
Look, I was touched by my interviews with Josiah Tugwani and Vuyani Bungu and Mzee Mguni. I flew down to East London and I spent a day with them. But sort of moving away from the personal and the autobiographical, I mean, what this book is about really is it's about memory. It's about contemporary South African memory. And I would simply hope, aside from my feelings and what I particularly enjoyed, that people understand and read and enjoy the book in terms of, you know, asking the question, oh, the 4-3-8 game, I was there then, or I turned the TV off because I thought South Africa were never going to chase that score down. Or the 2010 World Cup, where were we when we played against Mexico? You know, were we in the stadium? Did we watch it in a shebeen, in a bar with family? So the book is all about our memories, our recent memories. And I'm hoping that it has an emotional charge. I'm hoping it sparks debate and conversation along the lines of, oh yes, I've forgotten that. I was there then, or I remember that. I heard the commentary in the car driving home from work, or I was stuck in the traffic, or whatever it was. So this is a book, you know, the overall idea behind the book is that we get told that, you know, with race in contemporary South Africa being such a driver, we don't get told often enough that we share certain things as South Africans. And that's what the book is about.
All right, Luke, we'll have to leave it there. Looking forward to the book launch that's happening on the 16th of April.
Yes.
And really looking forward to how South Africans will receive this book. Thank you very much for your time this morning. Speaking to us about a book he compiled with Ian Hawkey titled Vuvuzela Dawn, 25 sports stories that shaped a new nation. That was award-winning journalist and author of 6 books, Luke Alfred. Well, you can also join us for our Sunday book feature to talk about some of the books that you're currently reading or have read, whether you're a lone reader or whether you belong to a book club. Simply send us some of your favorite picks. All you have to do is drop us an email, send us a Facebook message, or tweet us a picture of a book with the relevant caption by using our social media platforms. Our Twitter handle is @MorningLiveSABC. Find us on Morning Live SABC on Facebook, or you can simply drop us an email, morninglive@sabc.co.za. Time for a break.